Welcome to the place where the truth comes first. Breaking down the headlines, separating facts from the worst. No fear, no bias, no agenda to hide. Just real conversations from the other side. Hollywood lights, street stories, what's really going on? We ask the tough questions long after the hype is gone. Different perspectives, every voice is a shot. Because real discussion is something this world forgot. If you've got an opinion, don't keep it inside. Pull up to the conversation.
What is up, Hollywood besties? This is Alan Thompson with more Based Off. What in the world is going on at Atlanta Street Interviews? Oh my God. Okay, so we know Feisty's back in Atlanta. Tragedy is by her side. And surprise, surprise, Marcus is right back in the middle of it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Marcus done with Fiesty and Tragedy? Wasn't he tired of the disrespect? Tired of the disloyalty, tired of spending money? Wasn't he tired of trying to help people who supposedly didn't appreciate anything he does for them? Because apparently done has an expiration date. Apparently. The minute Feisty gets back to Atlanta, here we go again. And before this video is over, we need to talk about why. Because I don't think this is simply about Feisty coming back. I think Marcus knows exactly what Feisty brings to Atlanta Street Interviews. But before we get into Marcus, because trust me, we are going to get there, I do actually have to give Marcus credit for something. And you know I don't give Marcus credit for much. Because when it comes to Nick, Marcus and I might actually agree. One of the first things Marcus brings up in this video is Nick. And Marcus basically says Nick is broke. He calls him a scammer and questions what exactly Feisty accomplished by going all the way to Texas. And listen, I can't believe I'm saying this, y'all. I cannot believe it. But Marcus actually makes a valid point, because my question about this situation has been the same from the beginning. How are you positioning yourself as somebody coming to help Feisty when your own responsibilities appear to be unresolved? I've already done my coverage on Nick. I'm not trying to go back there, but this is relevant to, what we're discussing about this video. I discussed the court information I found concerning, well, it wasn't court information, but the information that I got concerning him about the $235,000 he's owed in back child support, which Nick then confirmed that, oh, I'm surprised it's only $235,000. I thought it was much more. I talked about the children. I talked about the marriages. I talked about the contradictions. And apparently, according to what Feisty says in this video about what I revealed, she brought me up. She said, Alan has Nick feeling the pressure after the information was revealed and what came out. I mean, I was just telling what I heard. So go figure. Because once you put yourself into a public situation involving somebody who already has an audience watching everything she does, people are going to start asking questions about you too, Nick. And Marcus basically tells Feisty, you went to Texas to get scammed. Now, whether I would use those exact words or not is another story. The bigger question he's asking is legitimate. What did Nick actually do for Feisty? Remember, Nick was supposedly going to help Feisty with her brand, right? Okay, where's the brand? Where's the strategy? Where is the growth? Where's the monetization? We're going to talk about that part, the monetization, because I can say something about that. Because Feisty has had visibility for a long time. She's been featured repeatedly on a channel with hundreds of thousands of viewers watching these stories. People know who she is. People follow what she's doing, and yet somehow she's still bouncing around without what appears to be a sustainable platform of her own. Nick was supposed to help manage her brand, and from what we're seeing, what changed? Because here's what I find especially interesting. So this channel that you all are watching right now, I started it from scratch just a month ago. I just started this channel from scratch. I had, I think, 6 subscribers when I started my channel, because it wasn't a channel. It was just my own personal YouTube that I used for my own personal reasons. And I reached my required watch hours, which is 4,000 watch hours in 2 weeks before I even ever reached 1,000 subscribers. So Feisty, she reached her 1,000 plus subscribers within, the first week of her starting her channel because she had the whole, Atlanta Street interviews audience and all of that. So it took me much longer. It took me a month to get to 1,000 subscribers. And yes, you guys, I am at 1,000 subscribers now as of yesterday. So, but we'll have a whole nother, we'll do a live about that, me reaching 1,000 subscribers. But all that to say, though, I reached my watch hours in my first 2 weeks. I had like 250 followers, and I had already reached my 4,000 watch hours in 2 weeks. So for Feisty to have over 2,000 followers on her YouTube, and she hasn't reached 4,000 watch hours, that doesn't make any sense. But I know the reason why. You have to post videos. And that's why I reached mine, because I was posting videos daily. I mean, you guys see it. I come out with my videos daily, at least one a day, sometimes up to two, sometimes up to three. So she's not posting videos. She's only posting shorts, which shorts don't count towards your watch hours. So that's the problem. And we're seeing a lot of the ones from ASI, they come out with their channels and they reach those subscribers easy, because that 1K is what you want to reach to get that the full monetization. They get that easily, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have the watch hours. See, I actually did it backwards. I got my watch hours first. That's more rare to get your watch hours before you get your 1,000 subscribers. But anyways, I was constantly putting up the content though and getting it done. So again, if anybody's calling themselves a brand manager and working with a person who already has a name, recognition like Feisty within this particular sector of YouTube, why isn't Feisty monetized? She should be by now. So Marcus, on this one, you got it. I do agree with you. But unfortunately, Marcus, that's about where my agreement ends. Because then this interview turns into the same old Marcus and Feisty argument we've heard how many times at this point. Suddenly, we're right back to loyalty. The whole money thing, everything Marcus has supposedly done, everything Marcus has supposedly paid for, everything Feisty has supposedly done wrong. And Tragedy keeps jumping into the conversation. Marcus gets more frustrated. Everybody starts talking over everybody, yelling. And eventually I'm sitting there thinking, what exactly am I watching? Like, what the hell is going on? Because this is not a conversation. It's three grown adults yelling. And Marcus, once again, trying to explain to Feisty why she should be more loyal to him. But Marcus, at some point, you have to accept people for who they have repeatedly shown you they are. How many times are you going to have this exact same conversation? You can't keep voluntarily putting yourself back into the same situation and then acting shocked when you get the same result. If you truly believe Feisty is disloyal, why are you interviewing her again? If Tragedy frustrates you this much, why are you dealing with him? If these people don't appreciate you, why are they back on your channel? My God, I mean, it's kind of simple. But I think it's something that Marcus doesn't want to admit. Feisty clearly benefits Atlanta Street interviews. I mean, clearly. I mean, hello. There's something about it clearly that he knows she brings in the views. Marcus spends so much time explaining what he's done for Feisty that he rarely seems willing to acknowledge what Feisty has done for his content. Look at what we've been getting while she's been gone. Ileana and Tone. DNA test. Still waiting. Another Ileana and Tone video. Car breaks down. More waiting. Polo and more conversations. And frankly, it's been boring as hell. Now suddenly Feisty comes back to Atlanta. What happens? We're back to yelling. We're back to drama, tragedy. It's a hot mess. I mean, honestly, I don't care to watch it, but I mean, it's better than what we've been getting. I mean, I will say that. And suddenly Marcus has something people actually will click and watch again. So who needs who? Because maybe Marcus helped make Feisty recognizable. I'll give him that. Atlanta Street interviews absolutely gave her exposure, but Marcus also needs to acknowledge something. Feisty became one of the characters people tune into his channel to see. So, I mean, as much as she gets on a lot of, people's nerves, including myself, people tune in to watch her. The views don't lie. Even the videos I do about her, they're always the highest viewed. And then Marcus starts talking about how people know who he is. He's talking about going out of the country and people recognize him. I mean, the only place I know have known him to really go out of the country is to Cancun recently, and then of course I think he went to the Caribbean a couple of years ago. But it's like, okay, I don't even consider that going out of the country like that. I mean, it is, but go to Europe and say people recognize you, and then okay, that's going to be something. But Cancun and to Jamaica or wherever he went in the Caribbean, that don't count to me. But okay, anyways, he says he goes out of the country and people recognize him. He said people come to Atlanta and they want to see him because of who he is. And I'm sitting there like, okay, what's your point? You're a 43-year-old man standing there yelling at Fiesty and Tragedy about how famous you are. What are we accomplishing? Because this is where Marcus lost me. He constantly wants loyalty and recognition from people whose lives he's turned into content. But he doesn't seem to recognize that the relationship is transactional on both sides. You film them, you get content, they get exposure, your audience watches, you get views. So when Marcus starts listing what he's spent and what he's done, it starts sounding less like generosity and more like an invoice. You know what I'm saying? And if you genuinely help somebody because you wanted to help them, why does every disagreement eventually become a public accounting session? Why does everybody need to know what you paid for, what you did, how much you spent, what you bought, what you did? At some point, that starts putting the person you're supposedly helping in a very different light. And that's exactly why I've repeatedly questioned the dynamic Marcus and the people he films has. Marcus seems convinced that he made Feisty, but then why can't you walk away from her then? That's the contradiction. You say you're done. She leaves Atlanta. The content slows down. She comes back, and suddenly the cameras are rolling again. So maybe the question isn't whether Marcus made Feisty. Maybe the question is whether Marcus underestimated how much Feisty became a part of the Atlanta Street interviews formula. Because there's something about this dysfunctional group that people watch, not necessarily because it's good. Sometimes it's a complete train wreck. I mean, not sometimes, all the time it's a train wreck. But people watch. And Marcus knows that. Okay, but here's the part I'm not letting disappear just because Feisty came back to Atlanta. Okay? And seemingly even just the whole, street sector is not even talking about it anymore. The allegations surrounding Marcus have not magically vanished. We are not forgetting. Marcus appears to be moving forward with business as usual. New videos, new arguments, new drama, back to Feisty, back to tragedy, back to who's loyal, back to who's ungrateful. But there are much bigger questions surrounding Atlanta Street interviews right now. And yelling at Feisty doesn't answer any of them. You know what? I find it fascinating how much energy Marcus is putting into demanding accountability from everybody around him when viewers are asking when Marcus is going to fully address the questions surrounding him. Think about that. Feisty needs to be accountable. Tragedy needs to be accountable. Nick needs to handle his responsibility. Everybody needs to answer for something. Okay? Then that standard can't stop when it reaches Marcus. And let's be very clear. Allegations are allegations unless and until facts establish otherwise. But the seriousness of allegations doesn't disappear simply because somebody uploads another YouTube video. That's why I'm going to continue separating what has actually been established from what people are alleging. But I'm also not going to pretend the controversy doesn't exist. And this is what I think Marcus still doesn't understand. He sees himself as the person helping everybody. He gave somebody money. He bought something. He paid for something. He gave the exposure. He put them on YouTube. Therefore, in his mind, they should be loyal. But Marcus, that's not how people work. You can't purchase loyalty. And you certainly can't demand gratitude indefinitely because you once helped somebody, especially when you're filming their lives and benefiting from that content yourself. That's why I've used the word exploitation when discussing this channel. Because when somebody's instability, addiction, homelessness, relationships, arguments, financial problems, or personal dysfunction repeatedly becomes entertainment, we should be allowed to ask, who is actually benefiting here? And is helping somebody still helping when their worst moments keep becoming content? Those are legitimate questions. And that's why the Nick portion of this video is almost ironic. Marcus telling Feisty that Nick didn't help her. Marcus is saying Nick had his own responsibilities he needed to handle. And again, I agree with that basic point. But Marcus should apply the same level of scrutiny to himself, because you tell everybody else what they need to fix, and you need to look at what's happening around you. Look at the controversy. Look at the allegations. Look at the questions people are asking. Look at this cycle you've created with Fiesty and Tragedy, because this isn't new. We've been here before, and somehow everybody keeps ending up right back at the same place. So where does this leave us? Where does this all leave us, everybody? Feisty went to Texas. Nick was supposedly going to help her with her brand. She's now back in Atlanta. Marcus says she basically went to Texas and got scammed. Marcus and Feisty are once again arguing about loyalty and money. Tragedy is jumping into the middle of it. Everybody is yelling. And Marcus, the man who was supposedly done with these two, is once again filming the entire thing. I'm just trying to tell y'all, you couldn't write this stuff if you tried. And maybe that's the real story here. Marcus can say he's finished with Feisty and Tragedy and as many times as he wants. But until Atlanta Street Interviews finds something that generates the same level of interest, I don't know if Marcus can be done. Because underneath all that yelling, all that talk about loyalty, all that talk about everything Marcus has done for everybody, there's one uncomfortable question hanging over the entire interview. Does Marcus need Feisty more than he's willing to admit? And while everybody is busy arguing about Nick, Texas, money, loyalty, and who's responsible for making who famous, I'm still looking at the elephant standing right in the middle of the room. What is happening with the allegations surrounding Marcus? Because that story isn't over simply because Feisty comes back to Atlanta. Base crew, I need to hear from you. Do you think Marcus genuinely wants to help Feisty? Do you think Feisty should have stayed away from Atlanta Street Interviews? Was Marcus right about Nick? And the big question, who needs who more, Feisty or Marcus? Let's talk about it in the comments. And let's talk about the fact of, again, the elephant in the room. These allegations that seemingly Marcus thinks maybe are going to just magically disappear. We have not forgotten. And I'm going to have some things coming this upcoming week regarding that and some things to say about that. But let's discuss this in the comments, everybody. Get down in those comments, because this one, we need to talk about it.
Thanks for watching More Based Off. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video with someone who would enjoy it too. Your support helps to grow the channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, my Cash App is on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.